Hello everyone and welcome back to Full House Sports here with myself, Charlie. Right, Anthony Joshua, AJ, what next, who next? Well, we had some more clarification from Eddie Hearn. Seems like three fighters are in the running: Efe Ajagba, Tony Yoka and Martin Bakole. Now, most of these fights would hint that AJ, he's been into a secret of the fact that he wants to fight his next fight in Africa. There's talk that Ghana could be the location or Nigeria. Obviously, Amir Khan is hosting a show in Nigeria tonight as a promoter. There was also talk, I saw on IFL TV an interview that they were saying if Anthony Joshua fights over here, we will make it happen. He's made no secret because of his African heritage, he'd like to fight there, and it looks like one of those three men that I mentioned are going to be in the ring opposite him. I've got to say it makes sense. AJ is coming off the back of quite a devastating loss to Daniel Dubois. Remember, that was his last fight. He's been out the ring since, he's had the surgery. It's an interesting one because he probably needs a tune-up fight. I think of the three, Yoka's probably the best bet. Tony Yoka, I think now based in Britain, if I'm not mistaken. I know he fought in Telford, I think, in one of his previous fights, which is mental when you think of it, that he's an Olympic gold medalist. I think he would make the most sense, probably for AJ to just go through, hopefully a pretty routine win. We saw that when he was rebuilding, when he fought Jermaine Franklin and Robert Helenius. I was at that fight and he was tentative and then he let the right hand go and knocked Helenius out. Ajagba probably is there because of the Nigerian, him being Nigerian and AJ, of course, having Nigerian heritage. It makes sense for him to be there because if the fight is going to be in Africa, then he can be there and offer that perfect foil and get the local interest potentially. Make it a bit of a rivalry almost, a bit of a derby that would be quite crazy to see. I think in Nigeria with a fervent crowd in a big open air stadium would be a real throwback, and I know it's an obvious comparison, but would be a real throwback to sort of the Rumble in the Jungle, I guess. But the one that interests me the most, and the one that I think if I was in AJ's camp I'd be saying stay well clear of, is Martin Bakole. Now, yes, people will point to Martin Bakole's last fight against Joseph Parker, where he was blasted out in 1.5 rounds, looked awful, 310 pounds, was out of shape, dreadful, whatever else. He then fought Efe Ajagba, wasn't great, drew that fight, didn't do much to really impress us. But the thing with Martin Bakole is I feel like if he's motivated and if up here he's mentally in it, like we saw for the Jared Anderson fight, when a lot of people had wrote him off, a lot of people thought that he was just there to act as the cannon fodder for America's next great heavyweight hope, and he knocked Jared Anderson out and he was pretty devastating. And I think a motivated and a dangerous Martin Bakole is all the wrong fight for Andy Joshua to come back to. I just don't see it being a good opponent. I think it could lay out, it could smash to bits the best laid plans, which we've seen in boxing time and time again. Fights take tune-up fights, they lose the tune-up fight, all of a sudden your plans are in tatters. What are you going to do? We saw it with AJ actually before with Andy Ruiz, didn't we? Oh, he's just a replacement, nothing will come of this. Uh-oh, lost. And then he had the rebuild, and then it was all, even Usyk to an extent, people thought, oh, that'll be a fight he'll get through. Lost that, can't fight Fury. It seems to me that's the obvious fight that they're sort of going for. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is because obviously Tyson Fury seems to be intent on just fighting Alexander Usyk. He doesn't seem to want to fight anyone else. He said apparently next April, Wembley's already booked. I don't know how true that is. You can never really believe what Tyson Fury says on his social media. It would seem that maybe the plan is also Deontay Wilder. That might make sense. I know he had his comeback. He didn't look amazing, but it's still a fight that would interest people. AJ versus Wilder, especially in the UK, if you got that on. Although I do think it'd be a Riyadh season event. But it's interesting with AJ where he goes. What's motivating him to come back? He doesn't need the money. He's financially settled. Does he want to be a 3-time heavyweight champion? Potentially, but is he realistically going to be able to do that with Alexander Usyk with the belts? I think probably not. I think Usyk's just got his number. So that's that. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. If he isn't, it's just making as much money as possible. Fair play to him. He's earned that right. I'd like to see him in some fan-friendly, some fun fights. Some fights with guys like Wilder. Not just the Fury fight, but there's others as well out there that I think he could fight and we'd be entertained by if he took those fights. Just thinking off the top of my head, to be honest. But I think someone like a Zhilei Zhang. I always say Zhilei Zhang's name. I don't know why. I just like him. I think he's a fun style of fighter. Could he even do the Dillian Whyte 3? Dillian Whyte 3? Well, I suppose it is Dillian Whyte 3, but Dillian Whyte 2. Sorry, I forgot their rematch. I didn't forget, but their rematch got called off. Could he do Dillian Whyte 2? I don't know. I think that was probably the plan if Dillian Whyte had beat Moses Tama, or at least put up a semi-decent performance, which he didn't. there's fights out there for AJ. There always is going to be. And to be honest with you, I'm a massive AJ fan. I don't think he always gets the credit he deserves in British boxing for what he's done for it. But I do question the motivation behind him coming back, and I don't think Martin McConey is the right opponent for him on the comeback trail. I think Tony Yoka, maybe a Jagba, but a Jagba can be dangerous. It's worth remembering. A Jagba isn't a knockover, he isn't a pushover. There's others out there as well. I keep him away from someone like a Caballel as well with the form he's in. Maybe the Joseph Parker rematch, although he is now fighting Fabio Wardley. But that would have been a good fight for AJ to potentially have. He's still a name, he still sells. I hope the talk of Jake Paul's completely nonsense. I hope that doesn't happen. But you never know, it's a money game, and we've seen what Tank Davis does for money and what others do for money. But let us know what you guys think. Let us know who you think AJ should fight next. Like I said, those are the 3 names that Eddie Hearn said. I'd personally like it to be Yoka. I think Yoka's the one who he's most capable of beating, and beaten quite convincingly. A Jagba potentially is a bit of an enigma. I'd stick well clear of Bacoli. Thank you as always for watching, guys. Please like, please subscribe if you can. Everything you guys do is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Have a great day.